You're standing in the phalanx at Cynoscephalae in 197 BCE, a Macedonian spearman in the third rank, and the Roman maniples attacking your position just did something you've never seen before. They disengaged. Not rooted, disengaged on purpose. Your formation won this section of the battlefield. You drove them back, but instead of reforming to defend, they're running laterally across the field. That's not retreat, that's something else. In 30 seconds, you'll understand why superior is the wrong question entirely. The myth says Roman soldiers were superior to Greek hoplites, better tactics, better discipline, better everything. History textbooks treat it as settled. Rome conquered Greece, therefore Roman methods were superior. But you're in that Macedonian phalanx, and what you're experiencing right now reveals why that framing misses what actually mattered. The Roman maniples you just defeated didn't need to win this section. They needed to survive long enough for the rest of their legion to break your left flank, and now those units are attacking your rear. Your formation can't turn around. The phalanx doesn't work that way. You're about to die not because you lacked courage or skill, but because your entire military system was built around different assumptions about what soldiers should be. Here's what being a hoplite actually meant. You're a property-owning citizen from Thebes. You bought your own armor, 70 pounds of bronze that cost the equivalent of a year's grain harvest. You trained in the gymnasium a few times monthly with other citizens. When war came, you left your farm, grabbed your equipment, and joined the phalanx. The man on your left is your neighbor. You've known him 20 years. Your cousin is 3 ranks behind you. This isn't just a military formation. It's your community, physically manifested in bronze and ash wood spears. That community is what makes the phalanx devastating in frontal combat. You can't run because everyone you know is watching. The shame of abandoning your neighbors is worse than death. So you hold formation even when Spartan hoplites are pushing against your shield, even when the man in front of you goes down and suddenly you're in the killing rank. You hold because breaking formation means betraying everyone you've ever known. But it's also why you can't adapt when battles require it. Right now at Cynoscephalae, tactical logic says turn your formation to face the threat from your rear. But turning means breaking the tight spacing that makes phalanx work. It means losing visual contact with the men you know. Your brain can't process that. You were trained to maintain formation, not abandon it. So you stand there, locked in place by social bonds that usually keep you alive, while Roman gladies start appearing between the ranks from behind. Now you're a Roman legionary instead. 3 years ago, you were a farm kid from Latium. Poor family. A recruiter offered a signing bonus. You took it. That was the last independent decision you made. What happened in training camp wasn't teaching you to fight, it was systematically destroying your identity and rebuilding it around unit cohesion. Month 1, you learned that sleep is a privilege, not a right. Random wake-ups at all hours until your brain stopped questioning commands because thought itself became exhausting. The beatings taught you that pain isn't connected to your behavior, which means you can't avoid it by being good, which means you stop trying and just comply. Your tentmate tried to leave in week 3, you never saw him again. Nobody explained, you learned not to ask. Month 2, gladius training. 1 motion, low stab, upward into the abdomen, twist, withdraw. 8 hours daily on wooden posts until your arm executed it without thought. This isn't combat training, it's programming you for mechanical killing in dense formation. By month 6, you weren't the farm kid anymore. You were a legionary, your century was your identity. The centurion's orders were absolute not because of respect, but because disobeying created worse psychological pain than death. So when your maniple disengages from the Macedonian phalanx at Cynoscephalae, you don't question it. You run where the centurion points. You don't need to understand the larger tactics. You've been conditioned to execute commands without thought. That's why the maneuver works. Not superior courage or skill, superior psychological conditioning that eliminated independent judgment. Here's what the superiority myth misses. The hoplite system preserved your humanity. You remained a citizen who owned property, made political decisions, had a life outside military service. After the campaign season, you went home. You planted crops, you raised children, you participated in democracy. The phalanx was effective because it channeled social bonds into military power without destroying the people using it. The Roman system sacrificed humanity for tactical flexibility. You became effective by ceasing to be a complete person. After 16 years of service, you couldn't return to civilian life. Rome didn't discharge you into society. They settled you in military colonies where you lived under former centurions until death because you were psychologically incapable of independent existence. Watch what this means in practice. At Pydna in 168 BCE, the last major battle between Rome and Macedon, 20,000 Macedonians die. Roman casualties fewer than 100. That's not a battle. That's systematic slaughter. The Macedonian phalanx fought exactly as designed: dense formation, coordinated advance. But when the formation fragmented on rough ground, the soldiers became individuals in heavy armor being hunted by men trained to kill efficiently in broken terrain. The Macedonians weren't inferior fighters. They were citizen soldiers who retained enough humanity to experience normal fear when their formation broke. The Romans were tactical machines executing programmed responses. One system preserved people, one system consumed them, but here's where superior becomes meaningless. When Greek hoplites faced Persian cavalry at Marathon, they adapted mid-battle, thinning their center, reinforcing their wings, and circling the enemy. Tactical innovation developed and executed by citizens who retained individual judgment. Try that with Roman legions. You can't. They execute orders brilliantly, but they don't create them. At Teutoburg Forest, 3 Roman legions, 15,000 professional soldiers, get annihilated by Germanic tribes over 3 days. Why? Because when ambush destroyed command structure, the legionaries couldn't function independently. They wandered in formation waiting for centurions who were already dead. The same conditioning that made them unstoppable in conventional battle made them helpless when they needed autonomous decision-making. Meanwhile, Greek city-states maintained functional democracies while fielding effective militaries, because their soldiers remained citizens capable of political participation. Rome created an empire that required permanent armies of psychologically broken men who would follow any commander offering them land and purpose. That's what ended the Republic, not external enemies, but the simple fact that Rome had created hundreds of thousands of men who couldn't exist outside military structure and would follow anyone who gave them orders. So were Romans superior? At Cynoscephalae, yes. At maintaining human dignity, no. At tactical flexibility, yes. At preserving democratic society, no. At battlefield dominance, yes. At sustainability, catastrophically, no. The question itself assumes military effectiveness and human well-being are separate metrics. They're not. Every tactical advantage Rome gained came at the cost of converting citizens into tactical machines. The Greek hoplite system was less efficient on the battlefield because it refused to destroy the people operating it. That's not inferiority, that's a different set of priorities. Rome chose conquest over humanity and built an empire. Greece chose humanity over conquest and built philosophy, drama, democracy, and mathematics that still shape civilization today. Neither system was moral. Both exploited human beings for state purposes. The difference is that Greek exploitation preserved enough humanity that Athens could produce Socrates while fielding armies. Roman exploitation was so thorough that after the empire fell, it took Europe 1,000 years to rediscover the concept that soldiers could be citizens rather than property. The definitive answer is that superior depends entirely on what you're measuring. Battlefield effectiveness, Rome; human cost, Rome paid catastrophically more; long-term civilizational impact, Greece gave us philosophy and democracy. Rome gave us crucifixion and the concept that human beings could be systematically converted into tactical resources. The myth says Rome was superior because they won. But winning by destroying your own soldiers' humanity isn't superiority, it's just a different calculation about what you're willing to sacrifice. The hoplite died at Cynoscephalae still knowing who he was. The legionary survived but couldn't remember the farm kid he used to be. Both systems were effective. Only one let you remain human. If this investigation into what military systems actually cost the people operating them has challenged how you think about ancient warfare, hit subscribe on Mythbusting. We're examining historical systems through human experience instead of just celebrating victories. Drop a comment. What other historical myth should we examine by asking what it cost the actual people involved?